What is up, my dudes, and welcome back to another 1.18 Experimental Snapshot Showcase. Today is July 20th, and Mojang has just dropped another experimental snapshot on us. A lot of fixes from the last snapshot and a couple of big changes as well, one of which you can kind of see in the skyline right now. Clouds are taller. Which is actually really great. For those of you who have used Optifine in the past, you could set your cloud height. But for those of you who just play vanilla Minecraft, this is going to be a huge update for you. So yeah, and without further ado, let's jump right into it. So like I said, in this new experimental snapshot, Snapshot 2, there have been a bunch of different changes. One of which, like I said, is the clouds. They went from 128 to 192, so they're just a bit taller. What's really nice about this is while you're climbing mountains, the higher up you get in a mountain, it really feels super high when these clouds are raised that many levels. It's really fantastic. They've renamed a couple of things, like renamed old mountains to extreme hills and gravelly hills instead of gravelly mountains. That way when people go to use the locate biome, they don't get confused, right, on which is which. They've made Beachier Beaches, and this here, before we jump into the rest of this is the actual seed world that I used, the same seed, excuse me, that I used for the first video. And if you haven't seen that, I'll put it in one of the little cards. I can't actually get to the top of the screen there, top right. Anyways, it's the card in the top right that shows up. But this is the same seed, and I just wanted to see if there was anything different with the new snapshot. First of all, there was a little swamp here, and that seems to have gone away. And in one of their changes, what they've done is they've fixed swamp spawning, mainly because they weren't spawning with trees. They were spawning like as part of other biomes. It was really odd. But if we venture over this way, right here, is it here? No, it's right over here, sorry. They've increased beaches to just actually look like beaches, right? So this absolutely beautiful beachscape now. I think this is gorgeous. You've got like your little inlet of water here, and then these huge beaches over here. This seems a little bit much, but it looks like it's multiple beaches together. It looks really great, the beach here. So in the snapshot notes, this is called Beachier Beaches. They generate generally wider. In some places, there's no beaches at all. That way you get a little variation. A lot of this stuff is coming from Henrik on Twitter. I'll throw some information up on the screen. Henrik's Twitter account there. I would strongly suggest going and following Henrik. He's part of the Mojang development team, and he puts a bunch of updates on Twitter about what they're doing, what they're changing, etc., etc. So if you want firsthand knowledge of what's being changed, go follow them on Twitter. So to go over all of the changes, biome placement is a bit smoother and less noisy. There's fewer microbiomes dotting the terrain. They're larger and less fragmented. I don't remember this massive plains biome in our first snapshot world that we did, so this is really great that this is here. And then this obviously is a little microbiome. The snow ones still feel odd to me. Like randomly, with all of the beach and all this around, there's just random plots of snow all over the place. And it just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. But this is why we're getting the snapshots and we get to put our feedback in, and that's one of the bits of feedback I'm going to say is just it doesn't feel right that these are here. As I talked about a little bit before, swamps now generate as they're supposed to. Blue orchids now still only generate in swamps, and the note here is blue orchids no longer spawn in meadows. The swamps were sad because this was their unique thing, which is really cute. And then the next one is swamps now generate properly. They generated in weird places before, and we're sad about that. The swamps are now happier. So this is the snapshot 2 happy swamps. Beachier Beaches and happy swamps. They've added missing biomes like the ice spikes and eroded badlands. The underground biomes are now less intrusive to the overworld, which is good. I think that's the way it's supposed to be. My biggest issue is, and I need to find it because I actually don't remember where it was. So I can't actually find what I'm looking for. There was an overground in the last video. Again, I'll have you go check that out. There was an overground Lush caves biome. It looked really cool, but I can't find it. Maybe I'll pull up the seed again later and see if we can find that exact location and see if that no longer is there. But anywho, I found this really cool bit of generation here. We have a swamp inside or next to, or excuse me, inside a forest, next to a jungle, next to a savanna, and then over this way, if we go through the savanna a little bit, and my computer's going to start buzzing, my apologies, I have to find a fix for that, we find a meadow. So it's just like random bits of terrain generation all over the place, followed up by swamp, and then a totem pole for no reason. So things like this, go ahead and grab screenshots and send these off to Mojang about different weird bits that you found. You know, give the coordinates in the seed as well when you're going through this snapshot. It really helps them with the final generation of the game. And good news for everybody out there that missed them, the Ice Spikes biome and the Eroded Badlands biome now generate in the world like they should again. Now, isn't this just a magical sight? Honestly, the reason I brought you up here is I really just wanted to show off the new higher clouds, because up there, as you can see, those clouds are barely scratching the surface of that mountain over there. And what that means is this mountain is almost 200 blocks tall because the new clouds spawn. And I think it's about 192 is their height now. So we're on a big old mountain ourselves over here. And this mountain over there, I think the clouds are going through it right over there. Yep, it looks like it. So this mountain must be over 200. Now, in the notes for the snapshot, they've increased some of the heights of some peaks, and now they can reach up to 220 or 260, which is rare. But you'll start seeing even taller mountains in Java now, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. So one of the new biomes, meadows, oh, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt dinner, used to not spawn anything, and now it actually spawns animals, which is fantastic. And they have a chance, it didn't happen in this one, but they have a chance to spawn a lone tree, which often will have a beehive in it as well, which is fantastic. Also, monsters can now spawn in the new mountains, which is kind of important. And speaking of the new mountains, we had a new ore generation chart, and it looks like it's actually in effect. We've got a ton of iron and coal the higher up we go, which is fantastic. And now you should start seeing emeralds pop up here and there in mountain biomes as well. They've toned down mega cave generation, which is good, and a lot of them no longer now go down to deep slate level. The great thing about that is it was way too easy to just find a mega cave entrance and then go straight down to diamond level and get your first diamonds. I believe in a Pixel Riff's live stream, he found diamonds in 4 minutes of starting a world. Got some wood, got some food, went straight down into one of these huge mega caves that this one looks like it might go down. Yep, it does, to deep slate level, and found himself some diamonds. So they tried to tone that down a little bit. It looks like this one, however, is one of the older generation ones. Wow, all this lava is very atmospheric. And speaking of these giant caves, these are the cheese caves. They made these a bit smaller now. So let's do ourselves an effect. Get a couple thousand seconds of night vision here, and we'll change our game mode to, whoops, that's not what I wanted. Oh, goodness gracious. To spectator, jeepers, there we go. Leave me alone, skeleton. Ooh, diamonds. Let's jump down into the world itself here. And yeah, honestly, just by generating this much, there's not as much noise down here, I can tell. Which is fantastic because it seemed like the entire bottom of the world was just open cave. And here is the next thing I wanted to go over. Now, if we plop ourselves into creative, spawners will now spawn creatures, will now spawn mobs at light level 11 or less, which is actually really, really cool. They've changed the spawn mechanics for monsters. You need light level 0 in order for monsters to spawn, unless it's from a spawner. Now it's light level 11. So it makes these a bit more of a hassle to shut down and to turn into mob grinders, because these were essentially free XP, and now it's a little more difficult. But we get anything fun? No. Now that we have ourselves a nice spider party here with a zombie, the last thing I wanted to go over in this new snapshot is a new custom spawn rules tag for spawners. Now, it lets you override the spawn rules of the spawn mob. In the tag, you can specify block light limit, which indicates the highest block light the spawners will spawn mobs, all right? And Melee, they did this change for map makers, etc., so you can customize different spawners for different areas. Wow. Just wow. So there were a couple other things to note in this snapshot. You can't open a world from snapshot 1, causes an error, so just rebuild a new world. If you need to find the seed, just do /seed, and then if you click on this, it'll just copy it. You can paste it into the world generation thing there. There's low performance. There was low performance in the first one. They're working on it soon. The problem is everybody's going away on vacation for Mojang, so you know, they'll get to it when they get to it. The nether terrain is messed up, which is what I want to go check out in just a minute. I just want to see what it looks like. End pillars apparently don't generate, but they do when you respawn the dragon, which is kind of interesting. Red sand is hard to find because Badlands is mostly generated on plateaus, and aquifers sometimes break coastlines in an ugly way. I don't know what that means. That's way above my brain capacity to figure out. So apologies to anyone. But let's do game mode and spectator here. And let's see what they mean by Nether Generation is weird. There's a lot of solid nether. I mean, it might just be our spawn, but it seems like a lot less open nether, or I was just in the walls there. No, it definitely looks like there's a lot less open nether, which is kind of interesting. It looks like old nether wastes mixed in with the new... Oh, here we go. Here's some nice big open terrain here. But, yeah, we got a couple of floating blocks and stuff, but you've always had that in the nether, so I wonder what they mean by nether terrain is messed up. But, anywho... Yeah, I mean, Nether looks alright to me. It still looks crazy and random. And while we stand here to do the outro, there is one other thing that I didn't go over yet, and that is you'll see flat terrain like this more often, which is a good thing, again, because it makes you appreciate the really tall, high terrain, right? So, that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, make sure to subscribe. I'll get you more videos in the future, no worries. I'd like to thank my patron, Divercat, for the wonderful support. Thank you so much, so much. If you want to follow me on Twitter or Twitch or Patreon, etc., links will be in the description. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, and we will see you in the next one. Goodbye!